nested, this is one more. So let's write down one more class, phone details or whatever it is. So how many properties comes here? First thing is ID. Okay, so ID. Second one, name. Third one, data. But data representing a value or a reference. Reference of another JSON object. Reference of another JSON object. For this, we are already created a class or not? Yes. What is the class? Phone description. So here, data type becomes the class name of the nested JSON object. Class name will become data type and property name will become data. Yes, that's all done. Okay. Apart from this, or we need to create one more Java class? No? Yeah, no, right? So, okay, fine. Because you don't have any property name out of the JSON array. You don't have any property name like ID name, something like that. You don't have anything. So that means now it's terminated. Now when it comes to the REST template exchange method, okay, so you will pass URL, you know what it is, and HTTP method dot, what is the method type? Get. Okay, so you can take get for entity method also, like what we taken in the last class. Get for entity or exchange method, you can take anything. URL, okay, HTTP method you will take. Third value is what? Right now we discussed it, right? HTTP entity, you are calculating what? Third parameter is HTTP entity. Do we have any HTTP entity? No, right? So then null. Now fourth parameter, response type. So what is the response type here? How to define? So here JSON array of values. So then Java point of view, list of values. I mean JSON array of JSON objects. Array of JSON objects. Now Java related list of Java objects. List of Java objects. So then can we define like this? List dot class. Okay, then at the same time, what list objects it is returning? Okay, here what is the method you will call? Get body method. Okay, otherwise what is the return type of the exchange method generally? Response entity. Yes, HTTP entity is request body. Response entity. So from the response entity, if you want to see only body, then what is the method? Get body method. So that's why we are calling directly here itself. Now, what is the response you are getting? List. List of what? List of what? What is the value I have to give here? Phone details. Exactly. That's all. Done. Calling REST service is completed. Now you will get this this entire data into this list objects. Now inside this reference, you have values. This entire data you have as a Java objects, as a list of Java objects. Now you know what you have to do with the Java list object. Now you can return it to front end or whatever you want to do, you can do that. So that is all very simple. What is the problem you face? What is the small complexity thing in this overall discussion? Tell me. In the overall discussion of calling REST services, where you have to make a lot of practice. Remembering method, exchange or get for entity, put for entity. Simple. Class name, REST template. Very simple. Fill in the blanks. URL, method type. Third one is HTTP entity. As part of HTTP entity, what you are passing? Request body, in case if it is available. Request body, when it comes into the picture, when REST service contains the request body. So REST service contains which type of body? Either JSON or XML. When it contains JSON or XML, what you have to do? You have to write down the POJO classes. That is where you are confusing. That is where you have to practice a lot, right? Similarly, when it contains response also in different JSON formats, JSON array of values, array of objects, only one single object. Okay. So that means based on the request payload, response payload, you have to write down the respective Java classes. That is where you have to make a lot of practice. Now, if you people are confusing, so writing this one, first to this one, and inside this representing this class, inside this and representing it as a list, this is where you found the little bit confusion or little bit difficult. Other than that, remaining things are very straightforward, right? So that's why please practice the number of examples. See, this is all about consuming the REST services. When you are producing the REST services also, that means when you created @REST controller, request body, After request body, you are writing a POJO class. That POJO class representing what? A payload, right? A request payload, which is coming from the client. That means any front end or any client. So that why you define that payload? Based on the requirement of JSON payload, you return request body class or not. So that means while consuming, while producing, while calling REST services of other applications, or while you are creating REST services on your own, from your own application, in both the cases, what you have to practice lot? Based on the requirement, request payload, writing the Java classes. In this case, based on the, so there, when you are creating the REST services, you are not worrying much about the response body. Why? Simply, we will return from the controller Java object. Automatically, Spring Framework converting the Java object to JSON payload. There you are not doing much effort with respect to response body. But in this case, when you are calling REST services of other application, you have to take care of, for example, assume a REST service contains request body as well as response body. A single REST service contains, it is expecting some content as a request body. Okay, and as well as the same REST service contains response body. Single REST service. Then tell me in this case what you have to do. With respect to request body, you have to write down the Java classes or not? POJO classes. POJO classes you have to write down based on the payload structure. That means if it is array or whatever it is, JSON payload. Okay, similarly, it is giving some kind of response also with different properties. So in this case also, you have to write down the POJO classes or not? Right? So in this case also, you have to write down the POJO class. So that's where you have to do the lot of practice. When you are creating the REST services, when you are calling the REST services, when you are creating and when you are calling in both the cases, where you have to practice lot, tell me now. 100% writing POJO classes equivalent to the JSON payloads. So what I am suggesting you here it is, it's 99, not 99, 100% is required. Not even 99. Nowadays, 100% is required wherever you will go. Okay, 100% JSON will be there when you are dealing with the REST services. When JSON is there, 100% we have to write down the Java classes. So please improve your practice writing minimum 15 to, I can say I cannot define 15 to 20. Take some complex JSON. Take this one only, okay, or else you just go here. See here, put they're calling. Now in this case, tell me, yeah, this is what example. In this case, what you contain, tell me how many concepts you have seen in this REST service. If I given this screenshot to you and I ask you call this REST service, what are the concepts it contains? Yes, exactly. Path variable it contains 7 representing a resource ID. So that means phone ID. Assume phone ID, phone number 7. So along with that, it contains what? Request body. So that means this REST service contains path variable as well as it contains request body, and at the same time, it is giving a response also. I mean, it is giving a response also. In this case, how many Java classes you have to write down? Tell me now. First thing is request point of view, one Java class. Okay, and out of this, second Java class. Okay, phone data, year, prime, this is all price you will write down. Okay, phone details, something like that. Name, whatever the Java class you created, first class, that data type you will give here. Okay, fine. Now with respect to this, maybe can we reuse the class what we created for this in this point of view? Both are same, right? Year, price, CPU model, hard disk, color. See here you for request body point of view, you created a class called as phone description. Can I use same phone description in this point of view also or not? Because properties are same, right? Don't worry about the values. When you are writing the plain Java classes, so here, whatever the Java class you written, can you reuse here? We can reuse. Similarly, ID, name, updated. Maybe assume this, you have only name. So for this, you can write down one more Java class, third Java class, phone data, something like that. You can write down ID, name, and phone description of data. So total, how many classes we can write down in this case? 3 classes. So when request or response point of view, when you felt the JSON object looks as it is same. Okay, yeah, it will be same, some of the cases. So in such case, you can reuse the Pojo class. You can reuse the Pojo class. Okay. So please, I given this one in the material itself. So if you are able to practice all, anyone tried at least? I told you try. So I given here in the material, it is there. I uploaded also. So anyone tried? So if you want to get a lot of comfort and you want to become a expert with respect to Spring framework, when you can say with respect to expert in Spring Boot is when you know how to create the REST services, when you know how to call the REST services, when you know how to deal with the JSON payloads, then you are experts in the Spring Boot. That is what the real time work. Okay. Okay. So fine. So this is all about the REST services. Please practice all these examples. Okay. Every example is covered in the material. I covered path variable, query parameters, response type, request type, everything covered. Okay. So whatever the examples you are seeing here, one example you can practice. You can create your own 2 Spring Boot applications. Call your own REST services. Next step, call a real REST service. All this is the real REST services. See, RESTful API. We don't know in which programming language this is implemented. These are all REST services in which programming it is implemented. You got the response. In which programming language it is implemented? Sorry? How do you know? That is what the importance of REST services. That is what the highlight of the REST services nowadays. Independent of programming language, you are communicating the applications. You don't know whether it is Python, Java, .NET, some other programming language. Simply a REST service. Your functionality you implemented as a REST service and you are exposing to the world. Okay. So you are just exposing to the world. So then anyone call your REST services like that. So no problem, Balakrishna, you can take. I already covered theory point of view also, don't worry. So that's why I taken little bit theory also today. So you just try. I already explained very clearly how to take history. Nothing is there when you are converting JSON to Java, Java to JSON. Apart from that, anything else is there? No, right? So just Java class, put values inside the Java class, keep inside the HTTP entity. But here, only problem when you face, you will struggle when you are converting Java to, based on the JSON payload, when you are writing the Java class, you will struggle. You don't know at what time, what property, how to define in the JSON payload point of view. That is the only struggle you will see. Apart from that, it is very straightforward. Okay. So please practice. In case if you are getting any issues while practicing of calling these REST services, let me know via email. I'm ready to help you. In this concept, I will help you like anything. I'm telling you, because you can observe, I'm discussing, keep on. The things is the why I'm keep on discussing. It's not like I'm having a lot of time to discuss with you. The problem here it is, why I'm discussing keep on is, I will show you my laptop, then you will realize. Okay. Okay, so that's all. Now let's move to the next topic. A small topic I'll discuss first, and then I will move to the Spring Boot profiles. So this is what I will discuss now. It's a very small topic. YAML or YML or YAML, whatever it is. Okay, so see here now, this is a new concept and it's not related to any web module. It's a small topic representing overall Spring framework. Even core module point of view also, you can use this concept. So anyone knows, knows in the sense I don't know, anyone knows about it. At least anyone saw anytime YML or YAML file somewhere else? No, right? Yeah, I know that. So here, generally, YAML file, okay, I will write down a small 1 or 2 statements. YAML is a file format to configure data. YAML is a file format to configure the data. So YAML will be used most of the cases in automation automation of the application configurations. Okay, and as well as YAML is more compatible with scripting Okay, YAML is more compatible with scripting language. Scripting language in the sense not like JavaScript. You have generally, for example, assume I will just give you 1 or 2 points. I will ask you 1 or 2 points. We are implementing the Spring Boot applications. Fine. And we are deploying Spring Boot application on the Tomcat server. Fine. And the Tomcat server available on which operating system? You are creating servlet application, Spring, whatever it is, take servlet, Spring, Spring Boot, whatever it is. You are deploying on the Tomcat server, right? Now the Tomcat server, you installed on which operating system? What is your computer operating system? Windows operating system, right? So all our laptops are Windows operating system or not? So fine. Tomcat server we installed on the Windows operating system and we deploy. But the same application is deployed on the live environment. Okay, production environment. It will be called as production environment. What is being used by the customer? As a customer, whatever we are using Flipkart.com, the functionality, whatever you can see, that is called as production environment. I will discuss that maybe tomorrow as part of the Spring profiles. You will get a clear picture. What is the environment and everything? Simply production environment. So that means a real environment. Now your same Spring Boot application or Spring application or Servlet application deployed on the Tomcat server, assume deployed on the Tomcat server. Now the production environment servers, people will say like server down, right? So that server is having which operating system, do you know? Most of the cases, never ever Windows operating systems. What it is? The real servers, Google servers, Yahoo servers, Gmail servers, the real-time application servers, not your computers, is always contains a powerful operating system called as, just at least guess what you know, no problem. I know you don't know anything, you are the freshers, I know that point. Linux, exactly Linux. The Linux is the most powerful operating system. Okay, with respect to security, with respect to whatever it is, there are a lot of factors, performance point of view, security point of view. Linux is the most powerful operating system than computers operating system. Windows operating system. Only thing is Windows making user friendly. As a customer, we can use Windows laptop very easily as a user friendly. But Linux is all about command based. Linux will not have much of user interface like Windows. Whatever you can do in the Windows, we cannot do that. But at the same time, most of the times, most of the real-time applications, people will deploy on Linux operating system. So that means your Tomcat server will be deployed on Linux operating system. Okay. So that means more than 95%, every Java application or whatever the applications is, most of the times, 95% is deployed an operating system called as Linux based operating systems. Okay, there are a lot of available, Red Hat Linux, CentOS, Ubuntu. There are so many things available. Please explore about the Linux also. See, nowadays, Linux is not became one of the mandatory skill for Java developer nowadays. The reason is so many automation tools came into the picture from last 10 years. DevOps team coming into the picture from last 10 years. Before 10 years, there is no DevOps team. There is no concept of DevOps. When I am learning the Java, there is no concept of DevOps. What DevOps people will do, what DevOps team will do? Yes, once you written the code, once you move to the GitHub, from GitHub onwards, who will take care? DevOps team will take care. They will take care of all the writing scripts, taking your source code, compiling, building, creating a WAR file, and that WAR file has to deploy on the Tomcat server. The Tomcat server located on the so-and-so cloud environment, AWS cloud. Okay, that is Linux operating system. This is all automated by the with as a Java developer or DevOps team. Nowadays, DevOps team is doing. At one point of time, we don't have any concept of DevOps. DevOps became popular from last 10 years only. Okay, before that, there is no word of DevOps also. Okay, So that means at that time, Java developer, as a Java developer, when you are attending the interviews, people will ask you minimum, do you have knowledge of Linux or not? That much important at one point of time. Even in my career, earlier days, like in 2012-13, when I joined into job, I operated on the Linux machines almost 2 to 3 to 4 years. Because most of the times, at the time, you don't see, we don't have much of automation tools. So Linux, everywhere Linux will be used when you are doing the deployments. So I used to connect to the Linux machines, doing the Linux commands. So that means we should have minimum knowledge of Linux. But anyway, nowadays it's not mandatory. Means if you are aware of it, it's good. But it became nowadays, it's all taken care by the DevOps team and lot of automation tools came. Okay, automation tools are taken care into the picture. But anyway, now in this case, the YAML is more compatible to the Linux operating systems. Okay, so that is what. But you may get a question, what is YAML? What is YAML? Here it is, right? So I will tell you. YAML stands for yet another markup language. Okay, YAML stands for yet another markup language. So what is the point here? It is where you are using YAML file. Here it is. For example, whenever you created a Spring Boot application, we are seeing a file is getting created where we are configuring the data. What is that file? Properties file, right? So inside properties file, what we are giving always a configuration data, right? Key equal to value page. So apart from key equal to value page, can we give anything in the properties file? No, right? Properties file objective itself defining key value page. So name equal to value. So value will be changed always. Key will be always permanent, right? So generally properties file will be called as what? Configuration data. Inside properties file, whatever the server dot port equal to 9999 we are giving. So what is the meaning of giving that? You are configuring server port number. So that means the entire data we can call it as. So this data we are going to call it as, you are configuring what? Database details. You are configuring context path. You are configuring port number. So this overall properties, why? What is the purpose we are giving? Configuring the application. So this data will be called as configuration of data, configuration data generally. Okay. Fine. Linux is Balakrishna. Okay. Now, so whatever the properties file you can see here, right? So now Spring Boot is supporting one more configuration file format called as YAML file. So that means a file name, the extension, file extension, here it is .yml or .yaml. You can use anything. Okay, both it will be supported by the YAML file script. You can use .yml, .yaml. So that means in place of properties file, we can create .yaml files. But at the same time, there is a change in the configuration of data with respect to syntaxes. Okay. For example, see here. Simple. In the overall discussion, what I am going to say here it is, in place of properties file, what you can use? YAML file also. Spring Boot language or Spring Boot application supporting one more file format to configure the data is called as YAML file format. Apart from properties, in interviews they will ask you where you are configuring your data. Then you will say like application or properties file. So he will ask immediately, only properties, do we have any other file format? In place of properties file, can I give any another file format? Yes. What it is? YAML. Yeah. The second one is YAML file format. Now, for example, if I given, so here application dot properties, right? Give me a second. Sorry. Okay. By default, always which file is creating? Application dot properties. Now, in case if you don't want properties file, somehow you want to create YAML file to configure the data. So what is the extension? What is the extension you can give here? It is .yaml, or you can give .yaml also. Both it will support, no problem. Both are same. So two extensions it is having, both represents the same thing. So now you are going to create, we can create application.yaml also in place of properties file. So here, but at the same time, do you think the way you are representing data in the properties file and YAML file, both are going to be same? No, right? Obviously, Java equal to Python, syntax wise, concepts wise same. Java is a programming language, Python is a Java programming language. Whatever you can do in Java, can we do in the Python or not? 100% we can do, right? But why? I mean, at the same time, syntax wise, Java is same, Python is same. No, right? Concept wise same. But syntax wise, same, different, right? Syntaxes. Similarly here also. Properties file we are using for the purpose of configuration of data. YAML file also we are using one more file format called as YAML file format used for configuration of data. But syntaxes is going to be changed. If it is properties file, what is the syntaxes? Tell me. Syntax is, what is the syntax? Key equal to or name equal to value. Okay, key equal to value, you can call it as generally name value pairs or key value pairs. Name equal to value. Property name equal to property value. Okay, I can take like this. Property name equal to property value. This is what you are doing, right? And one more thing, in the properties file, when key name contains, sorry, property name contains more than one word, what you are doing, tell me? When property name contains more than one word, how you are writing the property name? More than one word, how you are writing the property name inside the properties file? Yes, exactly. Dot. Server dot port. Server port, how many words? 2 words. You are differentiating with dot. Okay, server dot, spring dot data source dot URL. Every word is differentiated by the period symbol or dot symbol, right? Dot symbol. So dot port, server dot servlet dot context path, spring dot data source dot URL. 3 words you are separated by the dot symbol. So everywhere you are separating one word with the another word by the dot symbol inside the properties file, right? See, this properties file concept is from the core Java. What is properties file? How to configure? What is the standards, rules you have to follow when you are defining key names, value names? This is all from the core Java. Don't think like it is from the Spring or Spring Boot. It's from the core Java. Okay, fine. Property name contains more than one word. Then we are separated by dot symbol, right? Fine. This is the basic rules and regulations we are following inside the properties file. Now, if I taken same thing in the YAML file format, what I have to do? For example, assume once my Spring Boot application is created with application.properties, you can rename it to, by default, our editors will create always properties only, but your manager told or someone else told, please create always configuration data in the YAML files only. Don't use properties files because the purpose is different. After that, they are going to automate your deployment process by the DevOps team by using YAML file format. There are some advantages. Don't worry too much about it. So simply they told like use YAML file format. Now then what you are going to do? You have to, once your Spring Boot application is created, it will create always application.properties. Now you can convert it as YAML file or YAML file. Okay, remove the properties after dot, keep replace with the YAML. Fine. Okay, so where I change inside the Spring Boot REST API IMPL. So let me start my application. See, this is not related to Spring Web Module. Okay, this is a generic concept. When you are creating Spring Boot core module also. Okay, I will show you one example if you want very quickly. See here, the application is not starting. Why? It is saying database details or everything is missing, but everything is here. Only thing is YAML file format syntaxes will be different. Okay, so in such case, how I am going to define all these things? If it is application.yaml and in properties file, we define like this. If it is YAML file, how to define the properties? So the rules and regulations just see here. Keys will never be changed. Okay, server.port, server.servlet context path, spring.data source, whatever you guys see. YAML file will follow snake case. Okay, or I can call it as AML file will follow staircase. You know what is the staircase? I don't know. I mean, I written maybe spelling mistake. What is the staircase? In our houses, we will have steps, right? Steps. Our steps we are using, right? So sometimes steps will be called as staircases, right? So just looks like staircase format. Staircase means our regular steps, building steps. Snake case also. Generally, snake format, how it will be? How snake will be like this, right? So I mean, just I will show you. Then just people will call like this. Okay. At the same time, there are a couple of things you have to follow. We will see one by one. Now, for example, I have to define this property in the YAML file. What I have to do? What is the first property names? Words will never ever change with respect to properties file or YAML file. So here you have to define server.port with this value. If it is YAML file, what you have to do here it is. What is the first word? Server. So if it is properties, what you are giving immediately? Dot. Second word, dot, third word. But here, when you have second word, you should not give the dot. You have to use the colon symbol. Okay. And at the same time, you should not write second word immediately after the colon. Then it is almost copy paste to properties only, right? So then it's not YAML. So what you have to do is come to next line, maintain some space indentation. That means maintain minimum one space in the next hierarchy. Hierarchy means next. Some you will maintain hierarchy, right? Staircases. Now guess. So this is how staircases looks like or not? When you are seeing your steps or building steps, this is how it looks like or not? Now it looks like staircases or not? Okay. So that means first word you written, then immediately what you have to do? If it is having second word also, you have to come down the next line. Next line you have to come down. Okay. And how many spaces minimum you have to give? One space when you are defining, okay, second word of the previous line. Second word of the previous line. Minimum one space you have to define. So I'm taking two spaces here it is. Okay. Space one, space two. And now what is the second word? Port. Okay. So after this, do we have any other words? No, right? So, okay, colon and give the value. You got the point now? So when the key name is ending, key is ending with the words, then immediately after colon, what you will give? The value you will give. Now this is equivalent to server dot port equal to 9999 of properties file. You understood? Okay, if you are practicing, you will understood. Okay. See, in the material I given very clearly what is YAML, how many indexes you have to paste and all. But I am clearly explaining. You can make your own running notes like with your own language. So every word will be separated by the colon symbol. And second word, the immediate adjacent word you cannot write down in the same line. You have to come to the next line. And in the next line, can you write down in the same hierarchy? Second word is going to represent in the first word of the same line of hierarchy? No. You have to make some spaces. So maybe one or two, one space minimum should be there. Okay, staircase format, hierarchy wise. So then minimum two spaces I am taking. Generally people will follow two spaces. And then server, if key name is ending, that means words are ending. Then what you are going to do? Immediately you will provide the value. Again, value are you going to give equal to or colon? To represent the value, are you giving colon or equal? Colon only. There is no equals here it is. Okay, fine. Now, what is the second property? Server dot, servlet dot, context path. Context path is a single word here. Okay, so single word. So server dot. Now tell me, if it is YAML file, what you are going to do? Now do you think server dot, server colon, servlet, two spaces I given already. See, in this hierarchy I am not driven. So just next after two spaces. So servlet dot, I mean colon, not dot, colon. Can I write down in the same line? No, it has to apply for third word also. When you are writing third word, so it has to go to the another two spaces. So that is why I told you it has snake case or staircase. It representing snake case format or not? Staircase, sorry. It looks like steps or not? Step like that. Now, after this, do you have any word? then you have direct value. So what you have to give now? Slash something like that, Flipkart, whatever it is. Okay, right? But here, if it is YAML file, you are already having a server with respect to hierarchy or not. So you should not write server one more time. Okay, fine. This is how you have to write down. So what is the, now tell me in this overall representation, how many properties you are having? 2 properties you are having. Property number 1, server colon port. Property number 2, server colon context path, servlet colon context path. So this is what the rules you have to follow for the YAML file. Okay, fine. Now let's take these 3 values, how we are converting. Leave about the values. Okay. So writing keys are very important. Spring.data source. Now tell me, in this case, where I have to define the spring. In the zero position level or after server. Okay, for example, here I have to define or here I have to define. Yes, 0 level. The line indentation is very important here. It is. So as of now, are we using spring before the properties level? No, right? So yes, spring. We have next word. Yes, colon. Then come to the next. Give 2 spaces. We have next word. Yes, data source. Data source. So do we have next word? Yes. So that's why come to the next line. Give 2 more spaces. You have next word. What is that word? URL. Okay. So colon. You have value or next word. Now value. So what you have to going to give here? Localhost colon ORCL. The value as TC will give. Fine. Now next property. What is the next property? Spring.data source user, right? Generally. Now tell me, I'm going to write down, I have to write down spring one more time. No, you should not. Okay. Data source? No. Can I write down user? Yes. User is representing which level of hierarchy? URL level only or not? So third word. Now in the same hierarchy, user colon delete, password colon delete. Now tell me how many properties it is representing if you are going to the below hierarchy. Combination of spring, data source, URL. Spring, data source, URL, user. Spring, data source, user, password. For example, there is a property like this. Spring.datasource.user. Type something. One more word is there. Now tell me where type I have to write down. Yes, come to the user. Next line, type. Okay, some value. Now this type belongs to user or URL or password. Only user. Okay. So spring dot data source dot user dot type. But are you going to contain value here? Are you going to contain value here? Terminated level, you will always have a value. So are you going to write down here something like equal to double line? Is it possible in? No, right? So that is what. So at terminated word level, you will always have a value. Okay. So you're understanding hierarchy now? Okay, fine. Now next, what are the 2 properties? Spring.jpa.hibernate.ddl-auto. Spring.jpa.show-stl. Now tell me what I have to do here. First character, second character or third character. What I have to define, where I have to define, tell me. In which level I have to define the word, you can tell me now. Do I need to define spring? As per YAML, spring is already repeated in the first word position. So in this case also in the first word position, what you are having? Spring. By the time you already defined spring word in the YAML file or not, in the first position. Right? So that's why, can we write down spring one more time? Can we write down spring one more time? No. If you are writing, YAML file syntax will become wrong. Your application will not start. So what you have to do, spring is already there. What is the second word? JPA. Yes. So in the same position of second word of previous properties, where you have to write down? Here, 2 steps back. 2 spaces back. So JPA. JPA. So do you have another word? Yes, colon. Then spaces. And come back, Hibernate DDL-auto. Hibernate is one word. JPA.hibernate. Colon. Do you have value or one more word? One more word. So next. DDL-auto. Okay, colon. Do you have value? Yes. Now value you have to give. Okay. So none, whatever it is. None create. Values are whatever we discuss. See, only thing is file format is changing. File extension is changing. Configuration of syntaxes are changing. But keys are always same. Values are same. Spring Boot internally acts same way. Okay. Now, second one. JPA dot show SQL. So third word is show SQL. So where I have to define Hibernate level or DDL auto level? Hibernate level, exactly. Because Hibernate is the third word after the JPA. So here, show SQL colon value, true value. You got the point how to write down? So this is what. Only thing is you have to make sure this hierarchy, you should not repeat same first word 2 times with respect to another property. When you are encountering after 10, 50, 30, 40 lines, you have to add one more property called as spring dot, user dot, something like that. Are you going to define spring one more time? No, you have to see before already spring is there or not. Yes, it's already there in the first position of first word. So you have to define second word by giving 2 spaces with respect to this line index. This is all representing second word. So in this hierarchy point of view, so first word, second word. Here you will define second word. Like that, you should not repeat the same things. Okay, just practice couple of examples. Apart from that, nothing much. Okay, let me copy paste this now inside the YAML file. Save it. See, generally people okay, got it. Username, URL, password. We will give exact values also. Yeah, that's fine. Just password, C hash as delete. Anything else? Any spelling mistakes? Anything else? No, right? Yeah, that's what. Otherwise, you will get, see, your Eclipse editor itself validating the syntax of YAML file. If you are writing any syntax mistakes without spaces, okay, so like that, it is going to give you the mistakes. If you are going to give equal to also, equals will not be presented in the YAML file. Equals is presented into the properties file. Colons, here always about the colons. Now see, this is what the hierarchy. Okay, let me start my application now. So when you are following one space, follow for everything one space. When you are following 2 spaces, for everything maintain 2 spaces. Just make sure a consistency. Now is it getting started or not? So programmatically any difference? Nothing. Only thing is instead of you are writing in Telugu language, you are written in Hindi language. But context is same, meaning is same, right? Syntaxes will change. That's all same with respect to YAML. But couple of scenarios, people will or most couple of times projects will expect you write down in the YAML file format. Don't worry about YAML. YAML is just like another file format to represent what data? Configurable configuration data. So file format, how you are going to represent the key value pairs. So then you can explain in a simple English, you can explain in the interview, no problem. You don't need to be very proficiently, you don't need to explain. You can tell them like, if my key contains only one word, key colon directly after some space, value, only one word. If it contains more than 2 words, first word, colon, next line, some spaces, minimum 1 space. Okay, you can take like I'm taking 2 spaces, then next word and colon. If value is presented, immediately space value. If my property contains third word and 3 words and the same property contains 2 words of previous property, then I will come back to I will not define again one more time those 2 words. I will come back to the hierarchy wise, first word, second word, third word. I will give 2 more spaces, I will give it. Or you can ask them, I will write and I will show you like that also. So you just explain in a such a way, no problem. If you are telling them, I will write and I will show you. You can write down in this format. Or you can take these examples. If you're taking the spring dot data source dot URL, username, password, 3 words. I will write down spring, below line, 2 spaces, data source. Below line, URL, 2 spaces, URL, terminated word, colon, value. Now, when I'm writing the username, I will not define one more time string data source because it's already presented in the same hierarchy. Below data source, wherever I return the URL in the same index level, I will define the username. Now in the below that, I will define the password. Like that you can explain. This will be asked in interviews to test your ML knowledge, whether you are aware of it or not. Like only properties you can use or ML file we can use. Apart from that, there is nothing. So let's see, our application is getting started. Programmatical point of view, in any other thing point of view, it will not impact if you are writing the YAML file. You got the point now? Now finally our application contains what? .yaml. And tell me this YAML file format, is it, I'm saying like only related to web module? No, it's a just core module wise also you can define. For example, can we define user defined properties? In properties file, are we defined user defined properties or not? No. How to inject values into primitive data types by using annotations? How to inject values into primitive data type variables of a bean object? Inject means bean object only, definitely. How to inject values into primitive data types by using annotations? Yes, at the rate value. Whoever is saying correct. At the rate value. We discussed at the rate value or not? Right? So, at the same time, where you are defining that value? You are defining inside the properties file or not? That value you are giving at the rate value of curly braces, dollar symbol, curly braces, inside curly braces, the property name what you defined in the properties file level, right? Properties file level, right? So now same thing, if I return a user defined property here, contact colon email colon dilip@gmail.com. So this is a user defined or predefined? This is a user defined or predefined? User defined. So I followed the same hierarchy or not? Let's make hierarchy like this. Contact, second word is email, and I'm giving the value. Now, if you want to get this value, what you can do? Same at the rate value only. What you will define at the rate value of? You forgot about at the rate value, right? I know if I am asking you here, out of 15, 20, except one or two members, everyone will write down wrong syntax of the at the rate value annotation. What is this? We discussed, right? So what is the syntaxes we discussed? See, I discussed so many examples. So now this is what, for example, this is all what? Direct value. I mean, if you want to inject a hard-coded value, if you want to inject via property, I might have written somewhere else. Yeah, here. I know, I 100% know what is really required with respect to training point of view, and I will never ever miss a point also. Okay, with respect to training, what you really required in real-time projects point of view or interview point of view. That's why I'm telling you everything is interlinked. When you are forgetting one concept, you cannot understand another concept. Okay, now what you will define, tell me in this case, simply at the rate value. So here you will give contact dot email. Here you don't see any change. Here you don't see any change because in this case at the rate value you will give always as a contact dot email. Dot you will use at the rate value point of view. You cannot say like, sir, at YAML file level I use it colon. No, with respect to programming point of view, when you are accessing value from the YAML file also, you will give here at the rate value of what you will give? Contact dot email. Okay, so there nothing will be changed at the rate email at the rate value annotation point of view. Just try that. Okay, create a Spring Core module application, write a bean class at the rate component class, define public string email ID and define at the rate value of contact dot email. But here you just define inside the YAML file. You just define inside the YAML file. So any doubts with respect to YAML? See here there is one more option also. Editor will help you. Right click on this. Go here, convert to If you are right clicking on the dot properties file of another Spring Boot application I opened, so convert it to dot properties to dot YAML. Okay. That's all. Just don't do anything. Second application. See, automatically your editor helped you. In case if you written in the properties, you can directly convert it to YAML. This is what converted by the editor. This is what written by us. Okay. So you are clear with respect to YAML file now. So don't worry about too much. If programmatically there is no change, in place of properties, we can use YAML file. Okay. YAML is a configuration file format. It is mostly used in most of the scripting languages related to the Linux to automate the process, to automate the deployment point of view. In couple of applications, they will ask you to define properties inside the YAML file. Then it will become very easy to the DevOps team. It will become very easy to the DevOps team reading some properties from the YAML file and automating of the deployment process and all. So that's why they will ask, define always properties inside the YAML file. 50-50 chances. Few people will continue with dot properties as it is. Few people will use dot YAML, but there is nothing to worry about it. Only thing is you have to know writing the YAML file. Properties is very simple. Dot. YAML is just like hierarchy. You should not repeat the same words with respect to same hierarchy point of view. Like that. Okay. Anything else with respect to YAML file, online people? So anywhere else, if it is a Spring Boot application, from last 3 months, wherever you created dot properties, we can use in every place dot YAML. Okay. This is very simple. That's what I told you. Now, we already started our application also. It will work as expected. There is nothing to discuss about it. You just try with @value also with YAML file, then you will come to know that. File in server. That's what I am telling you, Balakrishna. Not only it's the YAML file will be used in different approaches. That's why I given. It's all more important with respect to scripting languages point of view, configuration point of view, automation point of view. It will be used. Yes. There will not be only one purpose. There will be many purposes. Okay. So if you are interested, just refer 1 or 2 minutes or at least 10 minutes about the YAML tutorial. Read it, no problem. It's very important. You can resume, you can keep YAML also. Yes, you know as a YAML also. Or someone else, whenever they are asking about, can you tell me how Spring Boot application is working? So you can tell them like, or how you are configuring properties in Spring Boot application. Generally, we'll say like inside application.properties, we can use server.port equal to something like that. Instead of immediately, you can say one more point also. In place of properties file, we can use YAML file. Then you will come to know that you know the YAML file syntax, YAML file concepts also. So just go through the YAML tutorial but nothing much is there. Just 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes. That's all. Don't worry too much about it. YAML file. Okay. So how to write down the comments in the YAML file? That is what they will discuss here in the tutorial. Apart from that, most of the things are same. Okay. Yeah, so this is all about the YAML file. And the next topic, what I'm going to take here, it is Spring Boot profiles, logging. Can I take logging or profiles? Logging, profiles. Yeah, I will take logging. This is also an individual concept. Not only belongs to Spring, it's individual concept and a very important concept with respect to real time also. 100% required. Logging in Spring Boot application. Okay, I am not starting this concept right now. I will stop this session, but I will give you just 1 or 2 lines. What is the meaning of logging? And we will see very clearly tomorrow. It will take again tomorrow 1 hour class. Okay, generally, you have a Java logic. Okay, core Java, think in core Java point of view. Only you written a method, 10, 15 methods you written 10 Java classes, you written hundreds of methods. Somehow you are calling one method from another method, one class to another class. Class A calling class B calling class C, something like that. Okay. Now, how do you, once you executed from class A main method, internal it is calling B, C, D, and internal C class methods, D class methods, 1, 2, 3, something like that. How do you know that? So, for example, I'm telling you, I want a trace, okay, from which method to which method it is called. And from A class level, so and so method, okay, from which class it is reached. Or what is the, when you are doing the calculations and you return hundreds of lines of logic, in between, you are doing some calculations. I want to know what is the value before returning the actual result also. So then what is the steps you are following? Simply guys, A, B, C, D classes you are having, different methods are having. One method is calling another method is calling another method, but you are initiated from the A class main method, right? From the A class main method, you are calling public static void method, run as Java application. Inside that you created B class object, you are calling B class method. And inside that method, B class method, you created C class object, you call the C class method. So I want a trace. I want a proof whether really A called the B class method or not, B class method, C class method or not. What you will do then? Yes, exactly. Speak out, same thing. What you will do? Yes, exactly. System.out.println, right? Your program is executing without any errors, without any exceptions. You are not written any system.out.println. So what you will see in the console level, program terminated successfully means without any errors, successfully terminated. But in the back end, is it really went to A to B, B to C, B to C, D, so on so methods? How do you know that? That is what I want proof. So whether it is really reaching to A to B or B to C or not, then what you will write down? If you return system.out.println of inside A class method, inside B class method, inside C class, so on so method, inside D class, so on so method. Now what will happen? A class is calling main method. I mean, we are executing from the main method. There also you written a statement, executing from A class main method. Then what is the first line it will be printed? Executing from the A class main method. Then it is going to the B class method. There also you written a statement like executing B class method. Then it is calling C class. Then also it will print a lines. Then we will feel really, then I can say like, yes, it is really calling A class, B class methods, right? Right? That is what the proof, right? Second point. This is one scenario. Second scenario. You are writing hundreds of lines inside single method and you are doing a lot of calculations. And I would like to know that what is the input values for that method and what is the final result of that method. Or in between also, I have to know that when you are doing step number 1 calculation, what is the result? When you are doing second step calculation, what is the result? When you are doing the final result, final calculation, what is the result? I want a trace step by step. What you will do generally? System.out.println. Method parameter, system.out.println of the method parameter A comma B you will give. When I am doing addition of SOP of addition comma, something the result you will print. Subtraction you will print. So then I will see addition, subtraction, all these things, right? So you are writing what? System.out.println for the purpose of tracing, for the purpose of proof, whatever we can call it as. Logic execution flow to identify the logic execution. For example, assume at subtraction level, the system.out.println is printed. At division level, it is not printed. The reason is, assume you got an exception. What exception? B value passed as 0. Then after that, remaining lines are going to be executed. Then you are having a clear picture where your line is, where your program execution is failed. How do you identify it? Until addition, subtraction, printed. Then you will realize immediately, okay, after subtraction, I got an exception. If you are not written addition and subtraction, sysouts or anything, then tell me where your why your program is failed. Is it that much easily can you identify? Is it failed at line number 1 or line number 10 or line number 30 or line number 50? It's very difficult, right? You have to show line by line and you have to. But line number 30 level, subtraction is printed. Line number, when it is doing the line number 35 level, it got arithmetic exception. Then it is, nothing is printed after that. Then what you will realize, until line number 30, our logic is good or not? Everything is. So that means, how system.out.println is helping you in this case? In how many ways it is helping you? Why you are writing system.out.println? One thing is tracing, tracking, readability, understanding the execution flow, identifying where problems are coming. I mean, until what level program executed successfully, where it failed. So in lot of ways, system.out.println is helping us, right? So similarly, in real-time projects, you will never ever write down. But in real-time projects, we have to track each and every activity. When you are doing the login activity from the Flipkart, Facebook, Gmail, immediately in the backend servers, okay, as part of the REST service point of view, you will return request body login REST service. You return request body username, comma password. When you send request to the Flipkart backend application or Facebook backend application, they will maintain a stress. Dilip Singh logged it. Okay, user logged in at so and so date, so and so time with the user ID called as Dilip123 with the okay, like that they will maintain the trace. So that trace will be used for another 1 year or 2 years. That trace will be tell you where you are logging and all. And at the same time, so many examples I'll discuss here. But in real-time projects also, we will write down so many these kind of helping statements entered into method, execution completed. This is what the result at step number line. Okay, like that, you are going to write down a lot of helpful, meaningful statements. Now, in SOP statements, system.out.println is really part of business logic. No, right? It's just you are writing for the developer purpose. Okay, you are writing for the purpose of developer what is happening to know this trace and all. Right? Similarly, in real-time projects also, we have to write a lot of messages with respect to, okay, request received. For example, REST service. Now you are having REST services, right? So if you go to the controller here, how can you say that this request is executed generally as of now? We return what? We return as of now what we return as a proof. What is loaded from the other REST service from point of view? What is the proof? When you are seeing like here, the users list, then you are saying like, yes, it is hitted the another REST service, right? That is why we written in the yesterday example. But in real-time projects, to write, we have to write down all these things. Whether you got successful response from the another Spring Boot application or another REST services point of view here or not, what is the response you received? You have to print here as a proof point of view. But in real-time projects, you will never ever write down single line of system.out.println. Single line of system.out.println, but we have to write down these kind of messages. Then what you have to do? There is a concept called as logging concept. Loggers. People will call it as loggers. Now, if you see here, what is this? These are all loggers. Nothing but equivalent to system.out.println. So how you are seeing these messages automatically are seeing Tomcat started on the port number 9999. So from where this sentence is coming? Tomcat started on port. You are seeing every time from where it is coming. This is nothing but a logger similar to system.out.println. I will show you. Control. Yeah. From the package called as embedded Tomcat. Yeah, first one. Version wise, there is a change, no problem. So this is a predefined class from the Spring framework, right? Control F, Control V. It may come from the, see here. What is this? Tomcat started on. That is what you are seeing here, right? Right? So if you are seeing from where these guys are calling, I'll show you some loggers here also. Is there? See here, cannot pass connector. So what is this? So that means simply in place of system.out.println in real time, what we will use? There is a concept called as loggers. So you will never write down system.out.println in the real time projects. Okay. So I'm done for the today. So anything else for the doubts? So please practice with the YAML file. Okay. And tomorrow we will see the loggers, how to write down. Tomorrow you will understand what is this loggers, how you are saying. Tomorrow you will come to know that what is the meaning of info, what is the meaning of warn. Okay, what is how this time is printed. Okay, what is the why class names, what is all these things and all. Tomorrow you will come to know. These are all loggers. Nothing but system.out.println in our language right now. Okay. So that's all for today. Let's connect on tomorrow, guys. Thanks.